The Michigan Wolverines had their spring game this past Saturday. There's a lot to take away from it. The Maize ended up beating the Blue 22-21. And if you watched this game and saw some sloppiness and saw some things that you weren't crazy about, that's okay. Because at the end of the day, you know what spring games are? Glorified practices. It's practice 15 for everybody involved. And the good news is you don't have to play a game until the fall. So if there's some things you're not crazy about, that's all right. They're still working out the kinks like a well-oiled machine. You're just trying to get it ready for when the fall does arrive. But like I said, a lot of good things to take away. One thing to keep in mind, this was not a roll the ball out and play, ones versus twos, one offense versus one defense to end. Like, it wasn't the typical spring game format you see a lot of these teams go by. I actually happen to like the format that Michigan did it. I've played my fair share of spring games and enjoyed the way Michigan did it more than any other format I've played in. And that is that Michigan drafted their players within the team. So they sat down and had a full-on draft. And so, J.J. McCarthy might be on one team and, the number one receiver might be on the other team. Like, you hear them saying it wasn't a full-on, okay, we're working with the unit we've worked with all spring, which, in my opinion, is beneficial because it takes the pressure off a little bit of having to analyze your one offense and your one defense, and it just allows these kids to go play ball, man. It allows them to go play in a competitive setting, go win. We got a scoreboard, got a clock, go win. So I was encouraged by that. Again, don't overreact if there were some things that you weren't crazy about. One thing you likely weren't super encouraged by was the J.J. McCarthy interception, right? Came out of his hand a little bit funny, wasn't a great spiral, was a drive concept, went over his receiver's head. Not a good look, right? Throw an interception, it's okay. Because what I think you saw outside of that one throw was a lot of impressive plays where he's throwing the ball to the wide side of the field, making NFL kind of throws. And I tweeted it out on my Twitter page, @JudyPickell. I was like, it's just a spring game. It's just a practice. But J.J. McCarthy has shown you what he has under the hood as Michigan's quarterback. And it wasn't anything you didn't already know. You knew he had the arm talent. You knew he was a great athlete. You saw him get out of the pocket and throw a touchdown near the goal line to end the first half. Like, you saw a lot of things from J.J. McCarthy you already knew, but it's just nice to have some reassurance, right? It's just nice to know that he's still got the juice. You were never worried he lost it, but just some reassurance in the spring game. It's a good feeling. I think he finished somewhere around 7 for 10, only played the first half. J.J. McCarthy, still that dude. Okay, now on the defensive side of the ball, I think they actually won the day if you're going to go by offense versus defense. I think defense had the better day. More thoughts on that in just a second. Make sure you're subscribed here to the On3 YouTube channel. It is spring game season. We're breaking them all down. Okay, no prisoners when it comes to spring football. We love college basketball, love the Final Four, but we talk college football here. I was watching more spring games than I was in college basketball this past weekend. I'll tell you that. So make sure you're locked in here. Follow me on the socials. Y'all know the drill. We appreciate you for that. @JudyPickell on Twitter, on Instagram. Thank you in advance. Okay, like I said, the defense probably won the day on the spring game. Now, they didn't do it offense versus defense. Like I said, they had a full-on draft and went Maize versus Blue, which you love. But I just saw a lot of encouraging things from this defense. One, forcing turnovers. Like, they were playing the ball well in the air. Had a couple PIs, that's fine. We'll take it. Those are effort plays. I thought the trenches for the defense got a consistent push throughout the game. You saw a lot of guys make plays and fly to the football. And one, that's encouraging because, you're going to need your defense to bring that juice come the fall. And you saw a lot of guys make plays like I just said. But going back to what should happen in a spring game, it should look a little bit sloppy, but it really should favor the defense. Because as an offense, you need so many things to go right within those 11 players on the field to run a perfect play. Like, it genuinely does take your 11 guys all being on the same page to get it right. So the level of difficulty is increased for the offense during spring football where you're trying to figure it out. And then on the defensive side, you don't need to be quite as in sync. Like, yes, if you bust a coverage, bad things can happen, but ultimately, you're able to kind of take the training wheels off and take the thinking cap off and just go play when you have 11 on 11. So one guy making a play, like one guy I'm going to talk about here in a second, Jaden McBurrows, I was really impressed with him. All day long, saw him flying around to the football. Kenneth Grant was another guy I was excited about. Like, in terms of standouts, those two dudes, I think, had a phenomenal day. Kenneth Grant had 3 tackles. He was one of the first players picked in this spring game draft. Worth noting, Kenneth Grant going to be a sophomore. someone you should be excited about. If he's thought of that highly internally, that means he's about ready to pop. Jaden McBurrows, another guy that they talked about a lot throughout the offseason, and a guy that's making great strides. Y'all, there was a swing pass that I saw Jaden McBurrows come from the, third level in the secondary and make a play on a tackle for a loss. That takes great instincts. That takes great read and react ability to know what's going on the football field. That takes great technique to get there. Because if you swing and miss, coming up on from the third level to try and make a tackle in the backfield, there's nobody else behind you, brother. Like we don't have other things behind you to help make up for you missing on that play. Jaden McBurrows, like I said, did not miss on that play. I was really impressed by him all day long. Now, offensively, like I said, defense probably won the day, but offensively, there were a lot of guys to be excited about. No Blake Corum, no Donovan Edwards. Didn't really work Colson Loveland too much. Didn't really work Cornelius Johnson too much. But Peyton O'Leary, y'all, I don't know where he fits in on the depth chart. To keep it a buck, like I have no idea how much you'll see of him in the fall, but he made a case for himself in this spring game. 6 catches on 7 targets. Meaning, Peyton, we're throwing you the football. You're likely coming up with it, at least in this spring game. 126 yards for my boy. A nice little game winner and the 2-point conversion to seal the deal for the Mays team. Like, you want to make a statement for yourself in spring football, want to put an exclamation mark on your case to get some more run. Peyton O'Leary had a day and a half. Easily the MVP. Another guy I'm really excited about. Early enrollee, freshman running back. Benjamin Hall, 13 carries, 96 yards. He's 5'11", 235 pounds. He's turned heads all spring. If you have a membership at the Wolverine, our Michigan on 3 site, you would already know that. But for him to run the way he did in a spring game, I think showed this coaching staff a whole lot. And what I love about him so much is he's jittery enough in the hole to make you miss, but he runs behind his pads so well. You don't see that too often with young backs. A lot of times they want to get out in the open and they want to just do what they did in high school, which was be out in space, run upright, and just beat everybody else to the outside. Like that's what running backs at the high school level, if you're Benjamin Hall's caliber, you're able to do that. I saw him read the hole really well. I saw him be patient behind his blocking and that power scheme. And what he does, how he runs the football fits perfectly with how Michigan likes to run their offense. So I'm excited about Benjamin Hall, and the rest of Michigan Nation should be as well. So a lot of different things to take away, a lot of different players that we like, a lot of different small notes we have. But the overarching takeaway for me in this game was you go from 1s to 2s to 3s. Doesn't matter who they were on this depth chart. You only saw J.J. McCarthy for like a half. I saw the Michigan identity intact regardless of what caliber of player was on the field. Like Benjamin Hall, like I said, early enrollee freshman. Who knows how much time he gets this year? But he was physical, he was smart, he was tough, looked disciplined, even though it's only been a few practices. Like, this Michigan team from top to bottom has the same sort of approach to their work. And I think that's encouraging. That speaks to culture. That speaks to Jim Harbaugh's thumbprint being all over this Michigan team. Like, I'm very encouraged to see the culture and the approach from Michigan show itself in a spring football game. Was it perfect? Of course not. It's practice. Practice is when you're supposed to make mistakes. Spring football games, a great chance to go cut it loose and compete, but you're going to see mistakes. You saw that. You saw that from Jack Tuttle. You saw that from Davis Warren. You saw that from J.J. McCarthy. But the approach to the work has not changed. It is Jim Harbaugh's way of doing things. Michigan ain't going anywhere, in case you were wondering. Make sure you keep it right here. This is the Hard Count. We talk ball here every single day, man, and we love y'all for tuning in. Nick, break, lifting heavy, doing everything that you see here, the best in the game. This is your show. All right, we appreciate y'all. We love y'all, man. We're going to keep the party rolling. We will see y'all next time. Hey, y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of the Hard Count. Also, be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.